Welcome, family and friends, to another edition of Catching Up with Covenant. Today I'm with Todd DeBert. He has been a member of Covenant for 38 years. Todd, if I remember correctly, you and your family moved to Fayetteville when you were in the 8th grade. Todd, you are a man of many talents. You recently started hydro dipping. Let's first start off with, what is hydro dipping?
Hydro dipping is basically you take enamel paints, which could be liquid paint or even spray paint, and you put it on the surface of water, and then you put stuff through that layer of paint and it attaches to whatever it is you're dunking in the water, basically.
Okay. What sparked your interest in hydro dipping?
It started out because I had a bunch of old coffee mugs, and everybody's got them. You love them, you use them all the time, but the paint starts peeling off of it, and it looks ugly. And I had a bunch of those, and I'm like, all right, what can I do to make it look fresh? Because I don't want to throw it away. So I started researching, and of course, the web is your friend, and YouTube, you can learn to do anything. So that's where I started, and it kind of started out from there.
That's awesome. Now, do you have a mind for that kind of stuff? Because I could, like, just anything like, I won't say technical. Is it artsy, I guess? Maybe would that be another way of saying it? Like, is this kind of an arty type thing or crafty type thing, would you say?
It's very arts and crafts. I'm kind of a balanced person, left brain and right brain. Okay. I use my left brain a lot at work, but I'm also in sales, so I'm using my right brain. But I like doing things with my hands. At my work, I can work all day and then not actually physically show something that I've done, like a craftsman. So I like doing this on the weekends.
Okay, awesome. That's helpful. Well, walk us through the process from beginning to end. So, like picking your item, whatever you're going to hydro dip. Would that be the proper way to say that?
So it started with coffee mugs, coffee thermoses, like the one in your hand. And then it started with trips to the thrift store and you can find vases. You find little vases and stuff that for super cheap, 50 cents to $1. And I've got a very right brain child, Howie, who loves to do this with me. So this is a family activity sometimes. Start out with some little things. You can go to the hobby store, and we bought a bunch of like little Christmas ornaments. And I use these a lot when I'm playing with different types of colors or different types of paints, how they're going to interact with each other before I do something bigger, just to make sure that I like how it looks. Here's one that I just did, not recently, but it's horrible. It turned out awful. So all I have to do is spray it down with some white spray paint and start over, that's what I love. You're not throwing stuff out because it didn't turn out. You just spray it with white paint and start back over again.
That's awesome. So once you pick your item that you're going to hydro dip,
mm-hmm.
and then once you pick your colors and you pick all that, like once you begin is it the process of hydro dipping? Is that the way you would say that?
Right, with hydro dipping, you've got basically
dipping. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, basically you've got a big container like a 5-gallon bucket or a big storage tub, depending on how big the item is. So I started out with buckets, and basically you're just if you're using spray paint, basically you're just spray painting onto the surface layer of the water, and it floats. And the great thing about enamel paint is the colors don't bleed into each other. So you get very specific lines between the red and blue or yellow. They're not bleeding into one ugly brown color like with water-based paint. And then you've got a very short period of time to kind of take a dipstick or something small. I use chopsticks because everyone's got a bunch of them in their house. And basically you're creating a pattern on the surface of the water, and then you drop slowly whatever it is that you're putting in the water. And there you get very direct. You guys have seen me walk around with this all the time. Very direct lines and swirl patterns, and each one comes out completely unique and different.
Yeah. So, wow, like that's really, really cool. So how many dips do you get with one object? Like, do you dip it multiple times or do you do like a,
I found that doing it more than once is not a good idea. If you don't like it the first time, it's better to start over with a plain color and then do it again. So, you know, if you don't like how it turns out, fine. Spray paint it after you dry it. Spray paint it white or some primer or something. Set it aside. Save it for the next weekend, and then do it again.
okay, that's awesome. And then how long does it take once you dip the object and once you get where you like it and you set it aside, like how long does it take it to dry to be usable?
Oh, it's almost instantly dry when you pull it out. Of course, you've got water droplets, but the paint dries really, really fast. Some people take like a hair dryer to it. I've got a big air compressor, so I just spray it down with compressed air and set it aside. And then usually you take like an acrylic coating and you put a protective coat over it to make it sort of food safe. If you're going to use it for something you're going to eat out of or drink out of, you need to make it food safe.
Well, that was going to be my next follow-up question. You being in the food industry, is how is that safe? Because my mom told me not to eat paint when I was growing up.
You don't eat paint. No, you use an epoxy resin coating. And that as long as it's a food grade item, then it renders it safe. It gives it a nice, beautiful sheen. It protects it, something like clear coat, and it protects it from scratches. And you can eat off of it, drink off of it, and not make yourself sick.
Awesome. Well, if someone wanted to begin hydro dipping, what would be a few suggestions you would give to a beginner?
Start with YouTube and watch what there's 1,000 videos, obviously, with YouTube. Everyone's able to load up videos. There's a bunch of different videos. Watch them, learn. Usually the people that do it 2, 3, 4 minutes long come over to my house when we've released ourselves from COVID-19, and we can make a crafting weekend of it. I've got a bunch of supplies. I'd be happy to have a bunch of people over and do it. I've done it before and just done like a arts and crafts party. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Well, maybe we can also do something like that at the church once we get up and running there too, like in the fellowship hall or something, or the Family Life Center.
Let's do it outside. We're playing with paint.
That's awesome.
We don't want to replace the carpet.
Right. That's awesome. Well, Todd, thank you for your time, and thank you, family and friends, for joining us for this edition of Catching Up with Covenant. I pray that you and your families are doing well, you are staying safe, and you're encouraged in the Lord. Good day.